to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for joining us today. Get ready to be inspired and motivated to live a high-impact life. Now, here's Rick.
Welcome to the Point of Impact podcast. I'm Rick McDaniel. Great to have you joining us again today. And today we're going to finish up our theme on regrets. Just this last one on regrets, which has to do with relationships and friendships. And it's an important one. I mean, a very, very important one, because relationships and friendships are a key part of anyone's life being happy, which is why people can come to the end of their life and end up saying, you know, I wish I would have stayed in touch more with my friends. I wish I would have valued my friends more than I did. So it's a big one. Today's a big one. And I've talked a lot about relationships and friendships over the years in a variety of settings. And I always like to do it because Harvard, huge 50-year Harvard study on happiness, and the number one thing that they determined is that people that have healthy relationships are the happiest people. So your friendships are important. The fact that people come to the end of their life and they say, I wish I would have invested more in my friendships. I wish I would have valued my friends more. I wish I would have spent more time with my friends, stayed in touch more. All those things are all indicators that tell you that people are on to something big here. And that's why I saved this one for last, because this is really a big one and an important one that we need to delve into in. But before we do that, let me just talk to you about one thing. This month, November, is Global Bible Month. It is a special celebration worldwide of the impact of the Bible. And one of the things that is making this very special is that the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, is hit 1 billion. Now, when you think that there's like 8 billion people in the world and 1 billion of them have this app, have the Bible on their phone, it just kind of puts things in to perspective for you. And of course, also the fact that of all the apps in the world, you know, this is one of the biggest apps in the world, just no matter what we're talking about. I mean, it's an amazing number of people. And part of the Global Bible Month focus is to get people to, you know, read the Bible more every day. And the Bible is a light. It's a light and a lamp. The Bible says, you know, it's a light to our way. It's a lamp that guides us and sheds light on the path that we're supposed to take. And the Bible is filled with truth. And when we renew our mind by reading the Bible, we change the way we think. I mean, it's just incredible. I could go on and on about it. But what I want to say to you is that I have 10 reading plans that you could start during this Global Bible Month and be reading the Bible every day, because there's a scripture verse in each of those plans. So if you have the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, just in the search, you know, hit the search, just type in my name, and all 10 plans will come up, and you can choose one of those. The latest one, the newest one, is called Power Up. The one of the 10 that is the most popular, is tens of thousands of people have done it, is called Mindset Matters. One that is extremely popular and especially appropriate as we come toward the end of a year, and the new year is called Your Breakthrough Year. A lot of people do that at the beginning of the year and find it to be very helpful. But I mean, I've got one on setbacks, I've got one greater, got one This Is Living, I've got one Believe, Best Life, Spiritual. I mean, you know, 5 Ways of Jesus, another very popular one. So if you're looking for a way to read the Bible each day in this Global Bible Month, just go on the app and start one of those plans. All the plans are 5 days. So it's not a lot of time. In fact, you can see that you could cover several plans here between now and even the end of the month. Though the goal obviously is not to start and then stop, but to have this start in a way that kind of gives you a plan that you can continue, a process that you just want to keep doing the rest of your life. Okay, so the final regret of the dying Is this, I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I would have spent more time with my friends, valued my friendships more. People just felt like they didn't give their friendships the time and the effort they deserved. Wow. We have somewhere between 500 and 2,000 acquaintances, average person, somewhere in that range. We have between 20 and 100 core friends, and we have between, say, 1 and 5 best friends. That's what a person's life looks like. Ethel Watts Mumford once said, God gives us relatives. Thank God we can choose our friends. You can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. American Psychological Association studies said that close friends bring the following benefits. Number 1, they ward off depression. Secondly, they boost your immune system. Thirdly, they lower your cholesterol. And fourthly, they help you survive a heart attack. These are all not mental health. These are physical health benefits. I guess depression would be a mental health one, although it has a lot of physical health ramifications. Your immune system's better. You don't have the impacts of depression that can hurt your body. You have lower cholesterol. You do better with a heart attack. You just cannot get around the benefits of friendship. And yet today we are in an era that friendship is really different than it's ever been before. There are literally services. Just think about it this way, okay? Things that for years people asked their friends to do: help them move, help rescue you when your car battery, your car doesn't start or your car breaks down, watch your kids because you need to do something, check in on your elderly parents for you. You live in another state, they do it for you. Feed your pets, water your plants while you're gone. Bring you groceries or meals when you're sick. Lend you a shoulder to cry on. Right? Do you realize that all of these are basically now like services that you can hire someone to perform these roles or services, right? Go right down the list, right? Get a professional move instead of having people help you move. Way more expensive. Just have, one of these car services come in and one of these things, you AAA, whatever, help you out, watch your kids, pay for someone to babysit, check in on your elderly parents. You can pay for that, take care of your pets, water your plants, pay for that. Bring you groceries or meals when you're sick. That's right. Delivery stuff happens all the time now. It's just amazing, right? In other words, what your friends did for free, you now can hire someone to do that. Isn't that kind of wild to just kind of ponder that? How did we get here? It's a really good question to ask. How did we get here? Is it just because we're more busy? Or is it because we're more self-absorbed? There was a time when people would have dropped everything they were doing to help someone else. They wouldn't have said, hey, I can do that next week, or they wouldn't have put their own needs. They would have put their own needs aside to make themselves available for others. But now there's a more of a self-orientation, self-centeredness, selfishness that's become a part of our daily lives. I don't think we expect as much out of our friends anymore. We just don't even expect it. All those things I said, people, I'm not going to ask somebody to do that. I'll just hire someone to do it. We've devalued friendship in this way. And yet, again, all the research would say that friendship is indispensable to happiness. I wrote this little booklet called 5 Habits of Happy People, and one of the 5 habits is about friendship. It's literally entitled or called the habit of enjoy relationships, enjoy your friendships, value your friends. So how do we do it? How can we turn this thing around in terms of friendships? How can we make sure that we don't come to the end of our life and look back and go, I did not invest in my friends the way I should. I didn't keep in touch with people the way I should. I wasn't a good enough friend. You don't want those kind of regrets. First thing I would say is just flat out, be available. It's so easy to take our friends for granted so that our friendships end up suffering from busyness and neglect. So what's the answer to that? The answer to that very simply is plan times to visit, to do things together. Stuff doesn't just happen. We have to schedule it. We have to plan it out. You have to do that. And there's just no other way around it. Set up specific times to get together. Don't just be like, I'm sure we've all said this, we need to get together sometime. And what ends up happening, it never happens. We don't get together. But if we say, hey, let's get together this Friday, well, then there you go. Now we have a day. Let's get more specific. Let's get together this Friday for dinner. Okay, what time? Let's get together this Friday for dinner at 6:30. That's how it works. Thanks, Dr. Rick. It's so helpful to have you and all of your knowledge. Well, come on. You got to set up the specific times. You have to do the regular activities. That's it. And you really need to just put forth the effort to stay in touch, to know what's going on in each other's lives. You have to do it, or you're going to regret it later, and you're going to say, I wish I would have. Don't. That's the whole purpose of all these episodes, is to keep us from ever getting to that place where we look back. The time to do it is now. You don't need to binge another program on another series on TV. You don't need to just sit around and be alone. What you need is people. Invest in your friendships. Be available. Stay in touch. Lend a hand. Do things together. And I would just say within this context of availability is the whole idea of, my dad always said, you can't ever have too many friends, so want a friend, be a friend. Like, keep making new friends. You can never have too many friends. You can't. So many people have less and less friends as their life goes on. It's like in your early days, your teens into your 20s, you have all these people that you meet through college or through your trade school or just early days of working and stuff, and you're hanging out, and then you get married, you have a family, you have kids, and and this especially happens to men. They just have to, and this is why men say, my wife's my best friend. Your wife should not be your best friend. Your best friend should be your best friend. Your wife should be your wife. But it ends up that these men make their wives their best friend because they don't have any other friends. You've got to be available. Happy people are those people that have friends. Maybe you need to seek out groups. And of course, church is the number one place for this. It's not the only place, but it is the number one place. It is an incredible place to meet new people and make new friends. That's just no doubt about it. And I don't think that this corollary is in any way nothing but a direct result, which is people who attend church regularly have a 25% longer life expectancy. Which goes back to some of the other stuff I was saying earlier about the health benefits. So get in a small group at your church and meet some new people. Join a ministry where you serve in the church, greeters or ushers or children's ministry, or sound team. There's so many depending on the size of a church. So important to seek out friendships, to seek out relationships, and to not let your relationships just die on the vine, so to speak. You've got to care for them. You've got to invest in them, and they will bring you a marvelous, marvelous return. One of my best friends lives across the country, and he was here on the East Coast here about a month ago, and we got together and just had a great time. And when we were done spending several hours together, I texted him afterwards. I said, man, I wish we lived closer to each other, because we've known each other since college. So we are long time friends, and very, very good friends, and walked with each other through a lot of things in our lives. It's just invaluable to have people like that in your life. I mean, when we get together, we talk like we always did, even though we're miles and miles apart and don't get to see each other all that often in person. Do talk on the phone and text, but still, not like someone who lives here. It's so valuable to have people like that in your life. Got a text this morning from a friend, and we had lunch together the week before, and he's going through some challenging stuff, and he said, hey, I really need to talk with you, kind of follow up on some of that stuff. When are you available? I said, well, I'm recording the podcast and got a meeting, but in between I got some time, so how about if we talk then? Friendship. It's what it's all about. It's what makes life good. It is what will keep you happy, and you will never regret investing in friendships. You will regret in not investing in your friendships. And it all, begins with being available. In football, we talk about the best ability is availability. What does that mean? Well, in a violent sport like football, there's a lot of injuries. And so you can be such a great player, but if you keep getting hurt, you're not available. If you're not on the field, you can't win, right? So it's this whole idea of the best ability is availability. You're available. Your best friendship ability is your availability to your friends. Be available to them. All right, second is this aspect of being supportive. Good friends are supportive of each other. They're not competing against each other. They're cooperating. They're not trying to control. They're supporting. They don't expect perfection from each other. And they don't hold back, their support, because someone's not perfect, and they support through life's inevitable challenges, disappointments, bad decisions that all of us go through. Supportive friendships are about encouragement. Just listen, I read this story. Just listen to this. So there's 9 physically handicapped people that want to hike up Mount Rainier, which is in Washington State outside Seattle. One of them has artificial leg. One of them is epileptic. 2 are deaf. 5 are blind. And despite all these handicaps, they all 9 of them successfully negotiated 14,000-foot climb up to the top of Mount Rainier and back down. And when they were interviewed and asked, well, how did you do this? Someone's got artificial leg, you got people that are blind, people that are deaf, you got someone that suffers epilepsy. And what did they say? Well, we helped each other. We helped each other. I might be blind, but I can hear. I might be deaf, but you can see, and I can see. I might have a handicapped leg, but, you've got two legs and can help me. I mean, it's just everyone working together and providing that kind of support and encouragement that is so absolutely vital to life. Friends ask for help when they need it. And friends offer assistance when it is needed. I will help you move. Yeah, not who likes to do that, right? Nobody, In my earlier years when, we all had, say, less money and, you move more when you're younger and you have less money when you're younger. So you really do need your friends. And because of my strength and muscles and all this, man, I got called in every single time. Let's get Rick, he can lift the heavy stuff. And I found myself, doing it. Did I love doing it? No. Are there other things I'd rather do on a Saturday? Yes. But God's blessed me with, this strength and is it just to push weight around in a gym? Or flex or whatever, what's it for really? Well, it's for this kind of stuff. It's for exactly this stuff. Like Rick can lift this. We should have him come over here and help us do it. Yeah, they're right. And I needed to be able to do that. Just part of what it means to be a friend. Go over and visit someone's elderly parents in another state. I mean, my dad lives hundreds of miles away from me. I live in Virginia, he lives in Connecticut. It's very valuable to have somebody do that, somebody that'll water your plants while you're gone. So, you spend all this money on these flowers, you don't want them to die. You look what happens like in a church and you'll see people that will bring meals over when, someone's had a new baby or someone's been in the hospital or they're sick in some other kind of way. I mean, that's what people do. Of course, part of the support is also sharing your dreams and your goals and your struggles and really just supporting each other through those things, celebrating when the dream becomes a reality, when the goal is reached. The Bible says this: rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. There it is. We're supposed to celebrate with people when they're successful, and we're supposed to mourn with them when they go through struggles and problems and losses. That's exactly the dynamic, the way that God designed it. Part of friendship is obviously the communication part. Listening, being a good listener, not just a good talker. So vitally important. What's the number one predictor of marital happiness in terms of friendship and using the marriage? I don't want to really tie the marriage in. I want to talk about friendship and relationship and much wider. But number one, communication, hands down. So do you have people that you can share with and trust? Then understand they know what confidentiality means, and they know how to keep their mouths shut and listen. You need people like that in your life, and you need to be that kind of person. Support, availability, support, dedication, commitment, whatever word works for you. Dedication is what keeps friendships alive and well. It just is. I mean, it's going to take commitment and dedication for a relationship to work. And just think about the value of this. Now, if you go to one of the great books in the Bible that would really talk about wisdom and life, practical life, in Ecclesiastes 4, it says, you're better having a friend than being alone. That's verse 9. Verse 10, if you fall, your friend can help you up. But if you fall without having a friend nearby, you're really in trouble. I mean, it's really something. Verse 12, someone might be able to be up one of you, but not both of you. And then it says this, and as the saying goes, a rope made of 3 strands of cord is hard to break. So in other words, first it's like, hey, just having a friend's good because they can help you. But then we get into 3 friends, a rope of 3 strands is really hard to break. So you start getting multiple friends and you're in a really, really good situation. Now, if we go to something like science and math, isn't that exciting? But just to show you, so one horse can pull, say, 9,000 pounds, and then another horse can pull 8,000 pounds. So together, if you yoked them together, you'd think now you can pull 17,000 pounds. But guess what? They did that. They pulled 30,000 pounds. They did this in Canada at a horse pull. One pulled 9,000, one pulled 8,000 pounds, together 30,000. How is that possible? Well, what science would call it, right? Synergy. The simultaneous action of separate agents working together has a greater total effect than the sum of their individual efforts. So when we are friends and we're together, we're better than we are separately. And we're better not only than we are separately alone, but we're even far much better. The two of us combined, we go from 17,000 to 30,000. Then you add another person in, you see how it just keeps going higher and higher. And this is the value of friendships. And this is why you want to be a dedicated and committed friend, because there are just absolute great benefits that come out of it. Now listen, it will take sacrifice, it will take devotion, it will take commitment. There's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to say, look at all the benefits, as if anything that has benefits doesn't ask of you. Yes, but ultimately, you want to be the friend your friend can count on. You want to be the person that they think of, I know I can count on him. I know I can count on her. When they need someone, they're like, that's who I'm going to call. Be the friend. Be that friend. Where they don't have to kind of weigh their thoughts and be like, I don't know if I should ask him or not. Where they don't have to kind of measure their words, like, I got to ask them the right way. Just be the friend that people can count on. And the reason I like dedication, and I love the word commitment, by the way, but at least the way I'm defining it, here it is. Dedication is like hundreds of commitments that you never even think about. That's what I mean when I talk about dedication. Like you're such a dedicated friend that there's just all kinds of ways you show commitment over and over and over again. And so the sum total of all those commitments reveal themselves in something larger and something bigger that, we would call, this is what a good friend really looks like. This is what it means to be a good friend. And you want to be that. That's who you want to be. Then when you come to the end of your life, you just be surrounded. Listen, can I just tell you something as a guy who does funerals, okay? Not a lot, but I do them. It's super heartbreaking sometimes how few people are at these funerals. Really heartbreaking. Really sad. Now you can say, well, they outlived all their friends. It's possible that does happen. I acknowledge that. It's also possible that people just didn't invest enough in their friendships, and there just aren't enough people. And you look at like that giant funeral, if you would, celebration of life of Charlie Kirk, where they're in a football stadium. There's that many people. I mean, that's sort of the other side of it. Like all these people interviewed, we're really good friends. And it's like, how can all these people all be really good friends with Charlie Kirk? Well, the guy had a lot of friends and touched a lot of lives, and people felt like, they would say he would text them and send them encouragement, which, by the way, that you can, it's so much easier to be a good friend now. You can just text someone, you can send them a funny little video or a little meme or something like that. You can call them up on cell phones. You don't have to be at a landline, be somewhere whenever you think of it. I mean, there's never been a time in history where it's easier to be a friend than it is right now. There are so many ways to be, not to mention old school, write them a card and actually put it in the mail. You can still do that, by the way. But you put it all together in their email. I mean, there's so many ways, easier ways than ever to be a good friend, to be available, to be supportive, to be dedicated. And I think if you will do this, then you won't have regrets when you come to the end of your life. And I hope as we've just spent really 6 weeks counting the message that I did about breaking free from regrets of the past, I hope as you just, really ponder all these things we've talked about regrets, that you'll really take it to heart. So you don't want to come to the end of your life with regrets. You want to say, I knew it up front, what I needed to do, and I did it. And I can really live truly a no regrets life. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to you joining us for our next episode.